Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely powerful story. It's a tale about overcoming the ultimate betrayal through sheer entrepreneurial grit and, honestly, unshakable resilience. We're going to explore this fascinating journey of loss, innovation, and ultimately, justice. To really grasp the emotional weight of today's story, I want you to ask yourself a pretty tough question. What do you do when the very person you trusted to weather the storms of life with you simply abandons you, leaving you completely, utterly helpless? It's a terrifying scenario, right? But it's exactly where our protagonist finds herself.
Section 1. Poverty and Hira's Journey. So, our story begins with the crushing poverty that sets this whole chain of events into motion.
We meet a deeply devoted couple, Nimla and her husband Hira. Their everyday life, a grueling grind of hard labor. We're talking grazing the local landlord's goats from dawn to dusk. And yet, despite working tirelessly, the rewards were virtually zero. The local merchant constantly cheated Hira out of his wages. This left them with totally empty stomachs, forcing them to literally forage for wild plants just to survive another day. It was brutal.
Section 2. The City. Betrayal and Humiliation. Driven by a desperate need to escape this cycle of starvation, Hira makes a fateful decision.
And this decision builds into an absolute nightmare for Nimla. First, Hira leaves for the city to find better work. And initially, things seem okay. He calls Nimla frequently from a public phone, checking in on her, checking in on the goats. But then, the calls slowly stop coming. He claims he's just too busy. And then we hit the devastating climax. After a whole year of waiting, Hira returns to the village. But he isn't alone. He comes back wearing shiny shoes, expensive clothes, and he brings home a brand new city-dwelling wife named Rima. No warning whatsoever.
Hira's transformation wasn't just physical, it was a complete moral corruption. He immediately builds a new house for Rima, leaving Nimla in their old, broken-down hut. And then he delivers this absolutely crushing blow, telling his loyal first wife, "Stay in this house if you want, or leave, I don't care." He actually mocks her village clothes. He cuts off all her financial support. He treats the very woman who starved alongside him like she's just some embarrassing burden.
So stripped of her husband's support, mocked daily by him and his new wife, and financially cut off with absolutely nothing to her name, we have to ask, what happens to Nimla now? How in the world does a person bounce back from an abyss this deep?
Section 3. A New Hope. Mushrooms. This brings us to a major turning point, hidden right out in the forest.
It's honestly incredible how a moment of deep despair can turn into a spark of pure genius. Nimla is out in the forest, hungry and alone, when she spots some wild white mushrooms. And this triggers a powerful childhood memory of her mother cooking this incredible rainy season mushroom dish. Bam! It sparks a massive realization. She could harvest these, mix them with rice, onions, and some basic spices from the market, and sell a unique mushroom biryani to the villagers.
Of course, the cruelty from her ex doesn't stop. Hira and Rima maliciously mock her ingredients. They call them worthless jungle weeds. They even take away her goat-herding job out of pure spite. But Nimla, she refuses to react. Instead, she channels all that pain into silent, focused, hard work. She just sits by the fire, entirely focused on roasting her spices and preparing that very first batch of biryani.
And that brings us to day 1. The very first day Nimla took her aromatic mushroom biryani out into the village. The result? A complete sellout. The villagers had never tasted anything like it. It was a massive, instantaneous hit. Section 4. Mushroom Cultivation and Success. Nimla's business explodes in popularity. But, as we all know, scaling a business always comes with its hurdles. She quickly hits a major supply chain crisis. The wild mushrooms in the forest completely run out as the season changes. But hey, market demand doesn't care about seasons, right? The villagers are aggressively demanding her famous biryani every single day.
Instead of throwing in the towel just because the forest stopped providing, Nimla takes matters into her own hands. She heads to the market and actually learns the agricultural science of mushroom cultivation, taking total control of her supply chain with a genuinely brilliant solution. Step 1. She soaks straw in hot water to sterilize it and remove any harmful fungi. Step 2. She cools it down and carefully layers it with mushroom spawn, or seeds, that she bought at the market. Step 3. She fills clean bags with the mixture, piercing small holes for airflow. And finally, Step 4. She incubates them in a cool, dark room in her home. Within days, massive white clusters of mushrooms are growing right inside her house. She's totally bypassed the unpredictable forest. Thanks to this newly optimized year-round supply chain, her profits absolutely soar. Within months, she generated enough savings to buy 4 cows, expertly expanding her little empire into selling milk and creating a highly lucrative second revenue stream. Talk about a comeback!
Section 5. The Fruits of Karma and Lessons Learned. As the years pass, well, the universe has a way of balancing the scales.
The stark difference in their life choices yields a seriously powerful irony. Today, Nimla, the abandoned village woman, has built an empire of happiness and wealth. She's living in a beautiful new house, entirely self-reliant, with a partner who actually respects her. Meanwhile, Hira's city money inevitably ran out. Abandoned by Rima, the man who chased superficial status ends up completely alone, impoverished, and ironically, back to grazing other people's goats, full of bitter regret.
Breaking down the core wisdom of this story, we get 4 essential life lessons. First, never disrespect those who stood by you during your hardest times. True loyalty is priceless. Second, hard work and a willingness to learn, just like Nimla learning mushroom cultivation, can completely rewrite your destiny. Third, arrogance over money is a temporary illusion. It can vanish just as quickly as it arrives. And fourth, don't waste time being jealous of others. Invest that energy into uplifting yourself.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. True wealth is never found by abandoning your roots for superficial status. It's found by having the grit to grow and cultivate success exactly where you are planted. Nimla took what was around her, memories, wild mushrooms, and just sheer determination, and she built a beautiful life. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder today. Are you exhausting yourself chasing someone else's idea of success? Or are you doing the hard work to cultivate your own? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.